Benjamin was taking pictures of Chidima, ready to post them on her Instagram, when suddenly a car pulled up. A man stepped out. It was a pastor. He greeted them politely, but soon warned that what they were doing was wrong. When he asked for directions, Benjamin and Chidima rudely dismissed him, telling him to mind his own business. "We are not GPS," they snapped. Meanwhile, Mercy was sinking in desperate love. She had begged Benjamin countless times to be her boyfriend, but his answer was always the same. His heart belonged to Chidima. Out of frustration, he told Mercy she could only be his side chick. She refused, swearing she would never share a man. Benjamin's temper exploded. He shouted that he would never leave Chidima. The next day, Miss Akpam walked into class with none other than the very Pastor Benjamin, and Chidima had insulted. To everyone's shock, he introduced himself as their new principal, Pastor Damian. His voice was stern, his presence commanding. He warned that indiscipline had plagued the school for too long, and under his administration, such behavior would never be tolerated. That afternoon, Mercy whispered to Margaret about the new principal. "He's so handsome," she giggled, predicting every girl in school would fall for him, including herself. Margaret frowned, warning her not to joke about such things. But Mercy only laughed. At home, Amaka told her mother about the new principal, who was also a pastor. Her mother's face lit up with joy. Surely this was God's way of guiding the students back to the right path. The following day, Miss Akpam asked a question in class. No one answered. Margaret sat chewing gum until she was scolded. Again, silence. Only Amaka raised her hand, answering correctly. Disappointed, Miss Akpam gave the class a quick test. During break, Benjamin was caught outside with Mercy, about to do the unthinkable, when Chidima appeared. Furious, she lunged at Mercy. Pastor Damian suddenly appeared, demanding to know why they were outside during lessons and why Benjamin's zipper was undone. Benjamin quickly lied, saying he had only stepped out for a short call and the girls had followed him. Damian looked at him suspiciously, but let them go. Later, Miss Akpam dragged Benjamin to the principal's office, accusing him of skipping classes for weeks. Damian's anger boiled over. He warned Benjamin that if he missed class again, he would be expelled. Miss Akpam praised the principal for his strictness and left. But the moment the door closed, Damian's mask slipped. He muttered bitterly that he hated her, calling her annoying and unfit to be a teacher. That evening, Mercy and her friend were walking home when Chidima struck again, attacking her in public. Hot-tempered as always, Chidima warned Mercy to stay away from Benjamin, but Mercy, stubborn and bold, swore she would never stop loving him. Their fight grew vicious until passers-by tore them apart. That night, Chidima's uncle confronted her. Why was she fighting instead of reporting Mercy to the teachers? But Chidima insisted she would fight her own battles, for teachers punished both sides. The next morning, Pastor Damian found a love letter and gift card on his desk. Shocked and furious, he stormed into the classroom demanding the writer confess. Silence. He threatened to punish everyone if no one came forward. Meanwhile, Benjamin and Chidima whispered to each other, wondering why Damian had never punished them for insulting him earlier. Suddenly, the devil himself appeared, Pastor Damian. Benjamin bolted in fear, leaving Chidima behind. Damian stared at her coldly and ordered her to his office after school. She was not to tell anyone. That evening, Chidima entered his office. Damian's eyes scanned her from head to toe. He said her skirt was too short, then reached out and touched her. His voice turned low and persuasive. He was a man of God, he said, wealthy, powerful, capable of making her the richest girl in school. That night, Chidima arrived home late. Her uncle questioned her, but she lied, saying she had been studying. Later, she pulled money out of her skirt, whispering to herself that she had never held so much before, and that the pastor was good in bed too. The very next day, Mercy entered Damian's office, half-dressed. He instantly knew she was the one who had written the love letter. He tried to throw her out, but when she touched him seductively, his voice softened. A few minutes later, she walked out smiling. Not long after, Miss Akpam caught Mercy half naked in the compound. Furious, she dragged her to Damian, expecting expulsion. But to her shock, Damian gave Mercy only a light punishment. Miss Akpam protested. The students needed strict discipline, but Damian only smiled and said they needed prayer instead. The principal walked into class to teach. Each question he asked, silence filled the room until Amaka answered. Realizing she was the brightest, he warned that if no one else responded, the entire class would be punished. At last, Chidima stood up and guessed the answer, saving them all. During break, Miss Akpam caught Benjamin, Chidima, and others smoking. She dragged them to the principal. Damian ordered them to slash the compound. Chidima sneered, refusing, declaring she was too beautiful for such work. Later, when Miss Akpam went looking for her, she found Chidima seated comfortably in Damian's office. The principal excused her, promising she would never have to face punishment again. Later, when Miss Akpam complained, Damian brushed her off, shifting the conversation to Amaka. He would contact her mother about a scholarship for her brilliance. That evening, Amaka joyfully told her mother the news. The next morning, Damian stopped Amaka on the road and offered her a ride. She hesitated, but he reminded her he was a man of God. Later that evening, instead of going home with James, Amaka visited his office. He spoke of the scholarship, offered her juice, then slyly asked about James. She replied she had never known a man. Damian smiled, claiming he too was pure. Trusting him, she drank the juice. Moments later, she collapsed. He had drugged and raped her. Amaka woke up crying, threatening to expose him, but Damian twisted his lies, professing love, promising to take responsibility. He tried to bribe her with money. She refused and left broken. Days later, Benjamin and Chidima were together in the field. Mercy lured Benjamin herself, but when Damian caught them half-dressed, they lied their way out. Later, when Chidima resisted his advances, Damian coldly told her it wasn't her choice. At home, her uncle again questioned her late returns, but she lied that she was staying behind to study. Weeks passed, then Amaka was absent. James explained she was sick. Soon the lab results revealed the truth. Amaka was pregnant. Damian pressured her to abort. She refused, threatening to expose him. Her health began to collapse. She dozed off in class. Her worried mother begged her to visit a hospital, but she refused, hiding the truth. Finally, she stormed into Damian's office, demanding he tell her mother before she did. Fearing his reputation, he softened, promised to marry her, and even assured her she could continue her studies after giving birth. He offered her more juice, showering her with sweet lies. But that evening, as Amaka walked home, sharp pains struck her stomach. She collapsed on the road, her fate uncertain. Subscribe and turn on notifications for Part 2.